Okay, this is lesson 33. We're talking about subtracting integers, and your one objective is to subtract integers. Alright, so we got steps over here, and we'll use them to talk about this problem. Okay, first step says to circle the number that you are subtracting. So just to make this a little bigger, I'm going to start by rewriting the problem. Okay, so I got 3 minus 4. Step 1, circle the number you're subtracting. So I'm going to circle this number here. Okay. Then, step 2 says to change subtraction to addition. So I'm going to leave the first number the same. I'm going to change the subtraction sign to an addition sign. Okay, and then step 3 says to change the circled number to its opposite. So I'm going to change 4 to the opposite of 4, which is negative 4. So basically what I've done is I've taken our subtraction problem and changed it to an addition problem. This is called changing to adding the opposite. Okay, and you can see why we changed subtraction to addition, and we're going to add the opposite of the number we were going to take away. And that's the exact same as subtracting. Alright, and then the last step is to go ahead and add the numbers. And the reason why we're changing subtraction to addition is because you already learned the addition rules. Okay, so you should already know those. When two numbers are opposites, we got a positive and a negative, we're going to subtract the numbers. 4 minus 3 is 1. Then I'm going to keep the sign of the bigger number. The bigger number was 4, means there's more negatives than positives, so I'm going to have a negative 1. So 3 minus 4 is negative 1. Alright, now I'm going to require you on all these subtraction problems to change the problem to addition first. So we're going to have the subtraction problem, circle the number you're taking away, change it to adding, and then add the numbers, okay, for every single subtraction problem here. Alright, let's go on to another example. Okay, example 1 says change each subtraction to addition and then find the sum. So A, to start with, the first thing I'm going to do is rewrite the problem. So it's negative 3 minus positive 2, and we'll just write it as positive 2 like this. Okay, it means the same thing as what they've written, just without the positive sign. Well, first step again is to circle the number you're subtracting. Well, I'm taking away 2, so I'm going to circle it. Then I'm going to change the problem. The first number always stays the same, so negative 3. Change the minus to a plus, and then we're going to change 2, the circled number, to the opposite of 2, which is negative 2. And now I'm going to find the sum, negative 3 plus negative 2. Well, I've got signs that are the same, they're both negatives, so I'm going to add the numbers. 3 plus 2 is 5, and I'm going to keep the sign they had in common, which is a negative. So negative 5. Okay, and then for B, same thing. We'll start negative 3 minus negative 2. Okay, we're going to write this negative 2 in parentheses just because otherwise it'll look like minus minus. So we want to make sure we know it's minus negative 2. First thing is to take away the number you're subtracting. Well, if I read this, it says negative 3 minus negative 2. So I'm taking away negative 2. So I circle that. Now change the problem to adding. So I'm going to keep the first number, negative 3. Change the first minus sign to a plus sign, and then change my circled part to the opposite. So the opposite of negative 2 is positive 2. And now I'm going to add the numbers. Well, negative 3 plus 2, they're different signs. One's negative, one's positive. Different signs, I find the difference. So 3 minus 2 is 1. Then there's more 3's than 2's. Okay, 3 is bigger than 2, means there's more negatives than positives. So it's negative 1. And there's my answer. Okay, again, notice the steps. First thing, I rewrote the problem, circled the number I was taking away, changed the problem to adding the opposite, and then added the numbers. Okay, do that every single time. And let's do one more example and we'll be done. Okay, here's a word problem. Jocelyn has a checking balance of $1,286. In the mail, she receives a rebate check for $25 and a utility bill for $128. Says she deposits the rebate and writes a check for the bill. Write an equation with integers for the situation and find her checking balance after the transactions. Alright, well, first thing we know is I'm going to just write a verbal model. We've got her checking balance to start with. Okay, and it says she's going to get a rebate check. And what she's going to do with that is it says she deposits the rebate check. So deposit means we're going to add that. Okay, and that's going to be a positive number. So plus the rebate check. And then it says she gets a utility bill, and she's going to write a check for the bill. So that means we're going to take away the utility bill because she's going to lose that money. Okay? And it says write an equation with integers for the situation. So her checking balance was $1,286 plus her rebate check. She's going to deposit that was $25. And then we're going to subtract her utility bill, which was $128. Okay, so again, first thing we want to do whenever we see subtraction now is change it to addition. So I'm going to first circle the number I'm subtracting. Okay, everything else stays the same. So 1286, plus sign doesn't change because it's already adding, 25. The subtraction changes to an addition, and we do the opposite of 128, which is negative 128. Alright, well, first thing I'm going to do is combine these two numbers, 1286 plus 25. So if I do 1286 plus 25, that gives me 1. Carry the 1, 8 plus 2 is 10, plus 1 is 1. And that's going to be $1,311. And I still got plus negative 128. Well, 1311 plus negative 128. Again, I'm going to find the difference of the numbers because they are opposite signs. One's positive, one's negative. That means I'm going to actually subtract them. So I'm going to take 1311 minus 128. Sorry, this should say 1311 minus 128. And I'm going to borrow here. Okay, and I'm going to have to borrow from this and make it 0, which means I'm not going to be able to do 0 minus 2, so I have to borrow from here, make it 2, and this goes to 10. Well, 11 minus 8 is 3, 10 minus 2 is 8, 2 minus 1 is 1, and 1 minus 0 is 1. So that's 1,183, and there's more positives than negatives, so it's positive, so she's going to have $1,183 left in her account by the time these transactions are done with. Alright, if you got any questions about subtracting, go ahead and ask them. Otherwise, happy homeworking.